That's right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another week of the SSL Challenge. My name is Reed Rapid Melton. Joining me is Brendan Valdez. And it's good to be back. It's been a little bit of a while for me, or at least it feels that way. I just got back from beautiful sunny Busan.
Yeah, they were able to cover up the suntan you had going on with that nice white makeup.
Yeah,
they got you covered there.
They're used to like my normal skin tone makeup, and now that I'm like a shade darker, it's just like, well, now we just have to put clown makeup on.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that looks because I can't see myself, but thankfully thousands of people on the internet can, and that's what matters.
We can all see each other, and I'm also very prepared for the summer. I've got my shorts on again. I got my sandals going on.
The shortest shorts ever.
I came very well prepared. I'm wearing a tie, but you know, you got to look classy, even though it is raining outside like crazy.
Apparently, you're not supposed to wear long ties with the buttons on the side of the collars.
Yeah, someone told us that in the back room before. One of the Korean casters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea. This is like, you know, you're supposed to use the tiny fork before you use the big fork.
Yeah,
literally why? I don't know.
The knife goes in the middle, and the big fork is on the left, and the little one is on the right. And yeah, you just gotta eat your food, right?
I don't know. You
just gotta cast your games. I don't care if you got buttons or not, Reed.
That's right. You should see what I have to cast in for some tournaments. If it's just an online tournament, I make sure there's no camera. Cast in whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, there is a camera here, so we do have to wear things that look marginally presentable. So we should probably welcome everybody out there to SSL Challenge. It's another week. It's week number 3, and it should be noted at least a little bit ahead of time that after tonight's games, we'll be taking a 3-week hiatus.
3 weeks.
We're going to take as long a vacation as SSL Challenge Season 2 has existed for. So, so we've got a week off for Home Story Cup. Then we have IEM Shanghai, and then we have GSL versus the World, all of which many of the players who are participating in SSL Challenge Season 2 are playing in. So lots of StarCraft going on basically every week. This week there's WCS Valencia. Next week there's Home Story Cup. The week after that is IEM Shanghai. And the week after that is GSL versus the World. So like there's just infinity StarCraft out there. It's and
especially because a lot of the players that we do have in this league aren't quite good. I mean, you look at soO, you look at Bjorn, definitely two of the bigger names that actually do have a good chance to go pretty far in a bunch of these tournaments. So definitely have to avoid the conflicts. Got to make sure everybody's going to all the tournaments, and the schedule will be fixed because of all that.
Yeah,
I will miss you, Rapid. I know we only see each other when we cast, even though we live right down the block.
We live like right next to each other. Never see each other ever.
You didn't invite me to Busan. Our head PD just walked by the camera. Oh my God. Seems like perhaps there's a problem with one of the players.
Well, I think the player is actually like about to like self-destruct or something. I don't know. We'll see if he does it again. All right, guys, hold on. This is the most exciting part of the show.
Oh, he's taking the stairs this time.
Oh.
He thought against it.
Yeah. We're strolling him at this point. Here we go.
Yeah, he's like checking. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he's got it now. He's going to avoid it.
All right. We did the duck and cover move there. So I love trolling our production staff. Anyway, guys, we were talking about the players that are very good, very highly skilled in SSL Challenge. Well, this week, and especially if you remember how SSL Challenge started out with guys like Zest and SOS just trying the wackiest builds you've ever seen. Well, we put them in detention for week number 2, which is just their schedule to have a break for that week. And we brought them back here for week number 3. So if you guys enjoyed watching some double proxy robo or watching 70 zealots run into supply depots and die, well, these games tonight may just be for you.
I think, we were talking about the matchups. We don't have them on screen right now, but we were agreeing that soO versus Bunny, the first matchup that we have, is probably going to be the highest level StarCraft matchup, the most competitive matchup that we have tonight. But then we got a ZVZ, Impact versus Rogue, and then we go to game 3, and it's SOS versus Jokti, kind of the comedic, comedic relief, if you will.
There's going to be some wackiness going on in that game. Not only is SOS just going to try the biggest meme builds in the world, but also Jack G's probably got something up his sleeve as well. And we're going to round it out at the end with Zest versus Hush, a match to make or eternally shatter Zest's reputation. So we'll get a chance to see that later. These are the standings. Bjorn and Bunny way up at the top. A little bit surprising to see Bunny way up there, considering how rough of a SSL Challenge Season 1 he had. So hopefully the wins keep coming. He has a lot on the line here tonight as he plays against soO, who is also somewhat surprisingly 1-1.
Well, he was able to defeat SOS, and that was kind of a crazy matchup.
Yeah.
3 games of just pure cheese and crazy proxies, so he does get away with winning that one. And then he defeated Patience 2-0, which is actually a pretty nice result for Bunny.
And even though we're not going to see him this week, we should probably talk about that Patience guy. He's looking super good lately. I did vote against him in my liquid bet lately, but we'll see if he comes back and continues his run. But here's a look at the matches we just talked about there tonight, and here's a look at us. So we can't talk about
I was
them
like bending into, I was like doing the nerd hunchback.
I love when we get slides on our screen that last there for like 1.5 seconds. So it's like, oh, there's a and we're back. So I don't know, guys. But luckily, we had just talked about it, Brendan. So
yeah, it's true. I mean, we're on top of things. We're ahead of schedule here, Rapid. And as we were talking about before, soO versus Bunny, definitely the highlight match for us tonight.
Definitely.
And I think Bunny actually might win this one, funny as it is.
Yeah, so I was checking. There were some sick Bunny shills out there on the internet today trying to sell the folks down the river about how Bunny is going to beat soO tonight. And I went and looked it up, and indeed, not only lately in recent games, but just historically, Bunny has a winning record. I think it's like 8-5 over soO. And I was plugging things into Illegal Act's predictive stats, and while the 2-0 victory for Bunny over soO is statistically most likely, just about 32%, the chances that either player goes 2-1 are both about low 20%, so like 22% for each of them. So while it is most likely that Bunny 2-0s, it's actually really close that either player could make it out with a 2-1 score. Either way, it's going to be exciting to watch this guy, soO, GSL finalist, VSL finalist, heartbreak of many, heartthrob of many others.
Yeah.
Sexy, dirty soO.
It's funny when we got him on camera at first, it looked like he was reluctant to touch the desk, and I'm like, what's going on? Oh, wait, there's an AD under the desk trying to fix his computer.
Yeah, it might look a little bit weird, but there's actually a guy under soO's desk. Well, not anymore. Hopefully not anymore.
He was revealed. We saw his face.
Yeah.
That is the reason why we had the PD running in there before. But he is going up against Bunny, who is definitely on a roll. I mean, he's 2-0. He's only dropped 1 set, and that was against SOS.
Yeah, the 3rd Jin Air Bear. Bunny, another one of those, like, he should, for an emote on his Twitch channel, he should get one that's basically his face instead of like the stats fighting, be Bunny fighting. He could totally pull it off. But yeah, he's been having a great season. He's only dropped 1 game in both of his series, which he has won. So he's looking for the 3-0 series score here tonight.
Looks like he's been hitting the gym too. He's got that tight shirt on. It's like when, Buffy, perhaps. Yeah. The return of Buffy, the Vampire Slayer. They're playing StarCraft now, but it kind of looks like when me and Wolf wear the super tight shirts for Premiere.
Yeah. The ones
where
that have
they
like the extra
squeeze the blood out of my arm. I'm like, oh, God. I'm losing all the blood in my brain. I can't focus on the cast. It's all going to my arms.
Comically large. You've got veins throbbing.
People are commenting in the chat like, oh my God, I think Wolf gained weight. I'm like, guys, no, it's the shirt.
It's just the shirt.
It's like
you look like Popeye the Sailor Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's Bunny right now, except that's a T-shirt. So I don't even know. That must be a really tight T-shirt.
Every season, I ask for one of those SSL jerseys, and they actually have SSL hoodies now too.
Yeah.
I don't know where they are. I'm gonna steal one.
We got the SPO TV jacket things.
Yeah, but those are like those don't have like SSL logos on them. Now we actually make the SSL jerseys look a lot more like the sponsored team jerseys.
Yeah.
That would be
We got to get the real
one of these days we're going to cast in those.
We could. I mean, I'm basically doing the same thing today with my shorts on.
So they have 10 of those, and only 8 players play every week. So we just have to find the 2 biggest, buffest players who aren't playing.
Well, Zest is playing today, so
that is true.
You can't steal his jersey tonight.
Unlucky.
Rapid.
Yeah. Well, here's a look at our maps for our first game of our first series of the night. We're first game of the series. Yeah, our first game of the series will be played on Abyssal Reef, then Ascension to Ire, and then Frost, a map that now will no longer be a part of the upcoming map pool changes. A little bit sad to see it go, said no one. But I'm glad that we get a chance to see it here tonight, and we might not even get a chance to see it here tonight if Bunny takes the 2-0.
I'm sure a lot of people in Korea would love to see the Frost back right now, as it's just been monsoon season.
It's so hot.
Super humid every day. That's part of the reason why I'm actually wearing shorts today. I didn't just decide, hey, for the fans, I gotta show off. That might have been a little bit of it, but mainly it was because of the humidity.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's pretty brutal.
I was swimming in the ocean earlier on this morning at I think 9 o'clock this morning. I was swimming my way out there, and then I reached the line of buoys at Hyundai Beach. I'm not allowed to swim past that, but I was there.
You're a pretty brave swimmer. You do a lot of swimming?
I took swimming lessons when I was a kid. My parents were just desperate for me to be successful at something. Took swimming lessons, failed miserably at them, but I still took them.
Yeah, so you took the lessons.
A little bit goes a long way, Valdez.
You're still a good swimmer, though? I mean, I'm
good enough.
I'm like an okay swimmer.
I can touch the bottom at most places there, so I feel like I have a distinct advantage. But it was really fun, but it was also very humid. I got out of the water to walk onto the beach, and it felt like I was still underwater. So it's basically what it feels like. It's also been raining all day today. I took a shower after I got out of the ocean, and my hair did this like frizzy fro kind of thing. I'm like, okay, well, I just don't need to have that for the broadcast tonight.
I was telling Rapid he should just embrace it. Maybe just go as large as possible.
There are things to embrace, Valdez. That is not one of them. Trust me. I actually need a haircut, much like yours.
Yeah, I got a haircut. I was a bit overdue. I think I was
good boyfriend. I noticed the haircut.
Yeah, definitely. Good boyfriend caster.
Is it just
here.
your eyes?
Yeah. But the makeup ladies did a very good job trying to get it back to it's very hard because the humidity affects both of our hairs because they're both pretty fine. So our hairs just kind of just like die. It's like, okay, I just can't handle this. I'm going to sleep. So makeup ladies did a pretty good job making us look
to our makeup and hair staff.
Presentable.
I come in here and I look like a zombie, and they just like magically make me look alive and vaguely handsome.
It is basically magic. I mean, we can't understand it really. So, I try to make my hair look like this. It doesn't work.
I believe it was the Swedish philosopher Soren Kierkegaard that said any indistinguishable or any sufficiently advanced technology was indistinguishable from magic.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I just made that guy up. No, he's a real guy. I don't think he said it, but I always like to attribute everything to him because it sounds so amazing.
How do you say his name again?
Kierkegaard.
Kierkegaard.
Yeah, big fan.
Sounds like a Finnish hockey player or something.
Yeah, he would have been a Terran player if he played StarCraft.
Makes sense.
People who have read that get that. Yeah. All two people watching just enough. Anyway.
I'll just pretend. I'm like, of course.
No, you're absolutely right.
For sure.
That's how you know he's a
Terran
good
player,
caster.
I'm the support caster. I kind of just like go along with what you're saying. I'm like, yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about our game. Apparently, there have been some issues. While our casting may be fascinating, something has just put our players to sleep for a second. I don't know why. This is where our Korean casters get a distinct advantage because not only do they have an extra person, but they also have a stuffed bear. And
that's basically half a person.
They have like 4 or 5 stuffed animals, nothing but each other, and thousands of people on the internet. So thanks for tuning in for tonight's matches. Our first series of the night hits soO against Bunny. So get out there, tell your friends. It's time for TVZ. In tonight's SSL Challenge, when will the game begin?
2017.
Nobody knows.
Season 2. Brought to you by SWO TV.
Engine L.
And Gillette. No, not really. But
all right, we're going to fly into our first game of the series. Our purple Zerg player spawning in the bottom left-hand corner. On the right-hand side of the map is soO. He just did it in reverse.
Yeah, and his opponent up in the top left, it is Bunny, the Terran player in the blue.
I'm just going to pretend like they have the screen swapped on my screen. All right, but here we go. We are going to go ahead and get into our first game. This is a TVZ. Now, today has been a wacky day for TVZ. Just earlier on the day in the GSL, we got a chance to see a TVZ for the ages. It's the topic of much discussion. Recently, it was Bjorn versus Losira, and spoiler alert, it did not look good for Zerg players everywhere who have to deal with Reapers. But one way that guys like soO have figured out to deal with Reapers, this is sort of his trademark build. You go for early gas pool, get out speedlings ahead of time, and then you go after the Reapers. You build a swell of lings early, take the Reapers out before they can reach critical mass, and then you get to recoup your economy afterwards when you're not dead.
Yeah, I really like the play here from soO. I mean, he's been doing this on an assortment of maps, basically every map.
The unholy Terran symbol.
Yeah, it's a little bit bent to one side. But
my parents would not let me play this game if they saw that.
Yeah, but I like what he's doing on all maps, you know, not just Abyssal Reef, but especially on this map. He just has to survive the early game, and then he can get into that really defensive kind of late game macro soO that we all love and know.
Yeah, for Bunny, though, I feel like, who was it the other day? I think it was Taste and Snartosis are talking about different Terran styles and how with, like, you know, the top 4 or 5 Terrans, you can always sort of tell, hey, this is this guy, even if you don't see his ID. For Bunny, I'm still looking for that style. I know he's you know, done a lot of standard Marine tank pushes, really, really good positioning when he does go for those sieges, but he's not a player that we'll see go for this Mass Reaper style. So at least for a moment, we can close our eyes and pretend like this is the way that TVZ is supposed to be played.
I'm kind of surprised that not more Terrans have moved over to this style. I mean, you and I were talking about this before the games began, and just watching Bjorn's play, it's like the grenades are perfect. It's almost AI, and I guess once you get to that level of understanding exactly the way the grenades work, then it gets really ridiculous. But if you're not confident in your grenade placement and exactly what to do with them and the timing of them, then maybe it's not as powerful.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brennan. And I think that you know, if you want to rely on your micro, your control, then you should build units that allow you to express that. If you want to rely on your macro, then you should rely on building units that you just need to have more of. Things like Marines, things like siege tanks. That's why innovation tends to go for that strategy. But then there's also a bunch of other ways to go. You see styles like Gumiho, where he just builds these wacky units at different times. One of the first players to involve Thors in a lot of different matchups and go mech styles where people didn't think it was possible. So a lot of different varieties out there, and this looks like it's going to be at least a little bit of a transition. We're going to see a couple of Hellions come out. I think 2 out, 2 on the way, and along with that Reaper, might be able to pick off a few drones if they go unscouted. Yeah,
definitely a very heavy harass style. It's not the Reaper style that we were talking about before, but lots of Hellions and even Ravens on the way to throw down auto turrets and really get into the economy of soO early on. We'll see how this does go. We've seen that soO has gotten this Ling speed, but besides that, basically just a bunch of queens, only now throwing down the Roach Warren.
Well, and the Roach Warren, great timing to throw it down there by soO. He knows that most likely this is going to be the Hellbat push coming out, and if you don't see this coming ahead of time, if you're just like, okay, well, I just won't saturate my third so that Hellions can't kill drones there just yet, and I'll just push them away. No, you have to prepare for the follow-up. That is going to be a very, very strong Hellbat push, and I don't know, I think it might not even be the solid mech transition after this. You can switch back into bio, but I think that the real pain point is about to come up as soon as this Raven gets out there, as soon as all these Hellbats group up and try to push in here to cancel this third.
Yeah, not a huge overcommitment by Bunny by any means. He's just trying to put on that pressure, and wow, look at soO going drops. For a 3 queen drop right as this attack is coming. He feels confident that he can hold this off with just his 10 roaches, doesn't need the queens.
Yeah, if I was a little bit less informed, maybe this would look like he's just going to go for like a big roach counter. I think he actually might just sack this third, hold off enough, and then go for a big hardcore counterattack. But I mean, I don't think these Hellbats are going to do anything there. They aren't able to kill that hatchery without sacrificing themselves, and so Bunny will pull out with just a few remaining Hellions.
The supply depot is down and dropping out the 3 queens now, immediately trying to focus down that Raven in the front. The SCVs have been pulled, trying to just get us around on those Lings, and you can see that soO, he's not overcommitting to this just yet, but stuff is coming across the map. Perfect pickup there right at the last second to save all of his queens.
Man, only 5 SCVs go down, but at this point in the game, everything matters. He's still up in workers, but maybe not enough. He needs to be up in army supply, and you can see a dismal 26. Although this time he has raised these supply depots, there's just not that much there to defend.
Yeah, and I said that he wasn't overcommitting soO, but I was terribly wrong, as only army units are coming out here as he tries to go for the counter all in, dropping those queens in the back line onto the tanks, but the repair is there.
Indeed it is, and also a few Marines here. They're going to take out that drop overlord. He loses a queen inside, and even with a bunch of Zerg pushing up here, those Hellbats at the ramp just so good at holding it.
Really nice defense here from Bunny, really holding on in a dire situation. If he can hold on here with that third orbital, he's going to be in a fantastic spot. That one tank in the back is so key, and now he's got a second one.
Yeah, and this is really just going to spell the end of this aggression. It did get damage done, a few SCVs killed off, but I feel like it really costs soO a lot more. soO is always a big believer in the fact that you can sacrifice your economy as a Zerg to put pressure on the Terran, because it's not even pressure that's designed to win the game, it's just pressure designed to keep the Terran off of you. And if you can get to the late game as Zerg, get your hatcheries, your bases, your saturation up, then even if you haven't dealt critical damage to your Terran player, you've at least gotten to where Zergs get to be very, very strong, and that is the late game.
Yeah, very true. I mean, he's putting on an immense amount of pressure, and Bunny can't expand with that third orbital. In the meantime, soO dropping down his fourth hatchery here at that location, and Bunny really just attempting to get whatever damage he can. Once he gets enough energy here for that auto turret at 50, he'll probably try to drop that down, and finally he gets to secure his third location.
Now, it appears as if Bunny is going to go more for this style of just getting your 3, maybe even 4 bases up and just maxing out. You get your Terran Death Ball down, +3/+3, maybe another +3 on top of that, and then you push across the map with an army that the Zerg player can't deal with. However, I feel like soO can definitely recognize this, and when you have to deal with pushing against either masses of spine crawlers or brood lords in wacky positions that it's difficult to push through, or Vipers yanking all of your tanks away, it's really, really painful to do that. So you have to be very confident that you can win, that you're the better late game player when you do go for this style, because it looks like Bunny's digging in.
Yeah, he is digging in, and based off of what I have seen from these two players, I would be a little bit more confident in soO's late game play. We've been seeing a lot of Zerg success in the late game on this map as well over here in Korea. We'll see if soO can actually close this one out. You can see he is getting his upgrades a little bit later than Bunny, as he did go for that kind of counter all-in pressure, whatever you do want to call it. Is going for the melee and has added that Baneling Nest.
A handful of Zerglings there at the back of both bases to try to deny this auto turret harass, but these are new auto turrets and actually are pretty good at dealing with that. They have overall more sustained damage, but it's going to be about this push that's coalescing here at the front while this drop comes into the back. So soO forced to split his army. And it looks like he's decided to sort of sack a few creep tumors up at the front, let the roaches deal with the push coming in, and then send his faster, more mobile units there to take out the drop in the back. But still, 8 drones going down here. That might look like a lot when you look at the worker supply, and you realize that soO has just been droning out of his mind behind this.
Yeah, he's totally fine. I mean, you were talking about Bunny's kind of, what makes him special as a Terran, what would make you know that it's Bunny in the booth, and he definitely likes to put on that drop pressure and just harassment pressure in general, but as you were saying, soO, I mean, he's holding this off decently well. The 8 drones out of 80 is going to be fine. Question is, can he hold off this follow-up push? He is about to get the Baneling speed, which is definitely going to help out here, but lots of tanks as a backline for Bunny.
So you have to just look at what's about to happen here. Bunny's been doing these cute little Raven plays, little drops that kill off 8 workers. That's basically insignificant. In the meantime, though, soO is preparing for war. He has a bunch of Banelings about to pop here. His larva is in Jexipin off the Chizane, and now he has macroed up an insanely potent Zerg force that's just designed perfectly to deal with this upcoming Terran push.
Yeah. Do like the slow push here from Bunny. You can see he's just moving one tank forward at a time. He's not overcommitting. He just wants to make sure he's in range of that hatchery to put pressure. But here we go, soO coming from multiple sides. Can he break the front line?
A very deep tank line here with Marines and reinforcements coming in. One Liberator that's immediately going to die to those bios. Actually, no, only one bio committed to it, and the forces run out. soO forced to retreat.
Not enough there. The tank's surviving for a very long time. And as you were saying, the Liberator's still here. He still can't take it out. Looks like he should be able to focus down that hatchery. Nice fungal here, though, to keep everything in place. Looks like the hatchery still will go down, and soO in a really dire spot in this game.
Yeah, probably a little optimistic to think that he could defend that fourth there. Maybe he should have pulled back and just let it drop. But in the end, that push is strong enough. Bunny entrenched for just long enough and came out with a stronger push than soO was expecting. Caught him off guard, maybe overmaking a little bit of drones, maybe not reacting to those drops and letting it throw him off a little bit. I don't know, but Bunny is good enough to take game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the two names, and if you're not watching a lot of StarCraft nowadays, you're like, hey, soO 100% takes this, you know? But Bunny's been looking good. He's really trying to force his way through SSL Challenge. Definitely looks a lot better compared to Season 1. I would argue that it was definitely a stronger pool in Season 1, as a lot of those guys, you know, Hero, Classic, and even Deer did go up. But Bunny still on a roll here.
Yeah, and you know, this would go along with maybe pre-predictions. If you just look at statistics, Bunny statistically does very well against soO, but I feel like this is more of a kind of a zeitgeist, a sign of the times, with a lot of Zerg players struggling as they play against Terrans. So even though this wasn't that somewhat abusive Mass Reaper style, it's still a very good play by Bunny. He held a very aggressive push that came his way, and he was able to entrench, get himself where he needed to be, and then push out and take game number 1. That's going to send us into our second game, I believe, on Ascension to Ire.
I think you are right, Rapid. So we'll see, can Bunny close out the 2-0 here against the favorite in soO, jumping into our second match of the night here. Looks like the game is ready. We're going to jump on to Ascension to Ire, as mentioned before. Here we go.
All right. We are about to better fly into our second game. We get that graphic up on the screen.
Wow. You're pretty good at this, Rapid.
I thought that was pretty good, yeah. Our purple Zerg player now on the left-hand side of the map. That is Oyonsu.
Yeah, and his opponent already taking game number 1. It is Bunny.
I don't actually know Bunny's Korean name. I guess I'll put it up on the screen here in just a second for us. EJ-son. Sick. I'm actually trying to focus on learning players' Korean names a little bit more, because it's always really weird for me to hear them, even if it's just in like stats sheets or something, not referred to by their ID. So I just realized that at some point I should actually know the names of the players when they play. I walk up to a guy and I'm like, hey, I'm like, your name is Bunny, right? Okay, well, I should probably know the real name too. So, if you guys want a quick hobby, or you just want to practice learning your learning Hangul, that's a pretty good way to do it. Just start with player names.
Yeah,
if you're a big fan.
It's incredibly easy to learn how to read Korean. I mean, a bunch of us have mentioned this at times on multiple broadcasts in Korea, but you can learn it in about 15 minutes. Obviously, you will be very slow, but
yeah,
you could still know. And as Rapid was saying, definitely go ahead and just look at the player names. Cool little way to start.
Yeah, just one step at a time. It takes 0 effort, so go for it. That's my show.
Well, I don't know about 0 effort, but
okay,
definitely, like, I'd give it a 1, maybe a 2 for effort.
I was being hyperbolic, speaking in hyperbole. Okay, so we get a redo here. Ascension to Ire, a little bit of a bigger map, but I think the big thing to notice here is, A, what kind of build does Bunny go for? Same style, and it looks like it is. No Mass Reaper or anything crazy like that. But B, how does soO adapt? He did that wacky 3 Queen drop that just didn't really work. He had a good spot there for a second when Zerglings ran over unraised depots and got a few SCV kills, but ultimately was defended. So we're really interested to see what he adapts to, because Bunny is not playing the same style that you would need to worry about against most Terrans.
Yeah, I would expect him to just back off a little bit. I want him to see him play a little bit more defensive, just kind of scout out what Bunny's doing, notice that it's not the Reapers, and say, okay, I can just hold off this Hellbat push and be totally fine, perhaps with an earlier Roach Warren, and perhaps not go as all in this time around.
All right, yeah, 2 Queens at the front to push the Reaper away. Great positioning. soO able to now read the early game a lot better than it's appeared in game number 1. He was able to defend his third from the Hellbat push, but things kind of fell apart when he was unable to get anything done with that counterattack on Bunny. So same situation. Bunny, big fan of this. And I mean, this is really odd that we get a chance to see 2 games almost exactly the same in a row, although the structure of this map is going to mean that soO's bases are a little bit more spread out.
What an interesting build there from Bunny. He starts off with a Viking first on the tech lab of his starport. Really wants to deny any scouting.
Right as I said, it was similar
up.
to the last game. He decides to switch it up and get a Viking.
It's close, but we've seen this kind of strategy in terms of builds work before, where you do basically the same thing, but one thing slightly differently. So it can definitely throw off soO if he comes in here, sees the tech lab that's now researching Cloak and sees a Viking. He's like, oh, I thought this was the same build, but it's different.
I think that's fake Cloak. Because he sees the starport spinning and the tech lab spinning. He kills it and yet immediately cancels the Cloak. Anti-caster curse.
The fake Cloak. soO, he's not thrown down those spores just yet, and he may just know. But he does have a little bit of time before the timing where he would need it. Maybe throw down 1 just to be safe.
Yes, so we'll watch in about 10 seconds or so. He'll try to throw down some spore crawlers if he is faked out by this. Otherwise, he's going to be going up against a big old 5 racks.
Ooh. Nice little mix-up here
there
from
you
Bunny.
go. 3 spores.
Yeah.
That's hundreds of minerals that will not be able to do anything against Stim Marines.
And soO, I mean, he's just droning up. He's going up to 50 right now.
Ooh.
Still more and more drones. He has no idea about this. I think that 1 Viking might be the key to Bunny's success, at least to get this build off the ground. We'll see if soO can still hold it off.
And that's what's cool about these Hellions, is that if you want to switch your style up like this, they really facilitate that. Instead of going aggressive and trying to harass, what they do is they limit map control, limit map vision, and this Viking patrolling around, just making sure that if soO's overlords are in fact out there scouting, riding dirty, they'll be able to take them out.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. One ling at a time. You can see soO, he's trying to get the information, but still more and more drones. He's going to go up to 62 on these 3 bases. And as you were saying, I mean, this is 5 racks out of Bunny. This is an ultra-aggressive move. There is no 3rd command center.
No, man. And well, there's no way that soO can know that, right? You can't scan. You can't even infest an orbital command center.
More drones!
Yeah, he's droning. He's expanding. He's actually getting a macro hatch right now. I don't know, man. This is just all kinds of bad. He's going to see these Marines up at the front. He actually has a Spire on the way, too. Also not great against massive Stim Marines. And this is where soO should realize he probably got duperino'd a little bit.
Something is a little bit funky.
A miss.
Why does he have that much stuff? Oh, wait, I didn't build any units. I have 10 lings.
And it's going to be the next 2 medevacs that boost across the map with full payloads of Marines coming up. Now, there are a bunch of Banelings here, but there's just not a lot else. There's a bunch of Queens and Spore Crawlers, neither of which do well against this push.
You can see Bunny with a nice pre-split and then just kiting. No speed on these mains. It was way too late. And it's coming out here. Even the Reaper's getting in there with his grenades. Nice kiting so far, trying to get off that creep. And Bunny, he is going to try to regroup before he goes for the 2nd push.
Yeah, so the Queen's actually doing a great job there. One of the ways to stop a big Stim Marine push is by limiting the medevac coverage and trying to take those out. Now, this is the big follow-up, though. There are 9 Marines at a time with combat shields just now finishing. And I didn't catch upgrades on those Marines. So we'll have to get an eye on that. But with
probably 1-1?
Yeah, with this many Marines coming out all the time, soO needs to adjust to meet it, and it appears as if he is doing pretty well.
Ooh.
No. Ooh. Wow, got really scared as that Widow Mine burrowed.
Look at this massive swell. I mean, there's only 11 Banes. He's going to get those burrowed Widow Mines, but they're not burrowed in time, and they were all bunched up. Oh, no. Nice Widow Mine hit there at the end to try to salvage this for Bunny. But
yeah, at this point, Terran's producing like, is there just so much coming out all at once, this narrow timing. Few mutas, but those are just really not going to be very effective. But one thing that's a problem for Bunny is he needs to get a bunch of Marines in one place instead of trickling them across the map.
he lost all of his Widow Mines in that one gigantic Baneling hit.
Yeah.
And if that had not happened, I think that 4th base is dead. Now we're in a totally different game where Bunny behind 30 supply. A lot of that is in workers, keep in mind. But now soO's on 4 hatcheries producing with that gigantic worker lead. So his production is going to be off the chain.
The Chizane, indeed. Widow Mines, Burrow, how good are the hits? Not that great, and that's going to mean that Bunny has to stim backwards, running away here, and even the Mutalisk might be able to chase this down. This is bad for Bunny. No third base even hinted at. He's going into Liberators now, but I just don't know if he's going to have enough. soO with the immaculate hold. He does keep Bunny honest and might even be able to take this force out. Okay, well, that's the kind of Widow Mine hits you need.
That's the kind of play out of soO that Bunny wants to see. He's like, give me more of those hits. And, yeah, I mean, soO, he may have overextended here. Has a large swell of Lings. He's not really making any more Banelings. Feels like he could just go with straight Ling Muta. And with 2-2 finishing up for his ground forces and +1 for his Mutas, I don't think he's too wrong, as Bunny still just on 2 orbitals, trying to stick in this one.
He's going to float his main down, and that is an optimistic third base.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Indeed they do. I think desperate times call for us to look at this fly, and that is not going to be a good tale to tell for Bunny fans out there. Even with this coming out, it just was not a strong enough push, and soO will even up the series at 1-1.
Yeah, the immense greed out of soO, and he gets away with it. And I don't know if I should really call him out for this huge greed, like he was doing something immoral. But I think he just didn't get the scouting information, and then he was like, oh crap, I gotta hold on, and he just barely did with that one big Baneling hit, and then Bunny his push lost all of its potential.
I feel like he kind of tipped his hand a little bit earlier. Once you sort of fake your opponent out into entrenching themselves, getting those massive queen numbers, getting all the spore crawlers, that's something that if you have a big enough ball of Stim Marines, you just mow all the way through. But he revealed like a small chunk of Marines and those Hellions, they were just poking in.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, soO kind of knew what was going on and figured it out very quickly. And so used the Queens to push back the Medivacs, which caused the Marines to pull back along with them because there just weren't that many. And then by the time they trickled across the map, you saw Bunny come back out with another big swell that he had built up back at his base. I don't know if that's just where you try to parade push, but you don't lower your depots so they just get stuck or something. I don't know, guys.
It's like it's a problem of multitasking, I think, because we looked back at Bunny's base and there was this massive swell of Marines and Widow Mines, like you were saying. And where were they? If they were moving across the map while he was backing up and then he grouped right there and then attacked right away again, I think he could have killed soO in that one timing. So maybe in a game where we have innovation instead of Bunny or like another super top Terran, maybe soO dies there with that greed. Obviously the Baneling hit was pretty good as well, but overall, soO, he stays alive, and now we're going into cross spawns Frost.
Wow. All right, so spawning in the lower right-hand corner, I checked that time, is our purple Zerg player. This time, it's soO.
And his opponent, up in the top left, the blue Terran, it is Bunny, having a little bit of trouble with the execution of his build. I like the idea. He definitely did totally dupe soO. soO was bamboozled in that moment, but couldn't execute it, couldn't kill him.
Cool strategy. It's always nice to see mind games work and to notice them and see the effects that they have. And that part of the game went great for Bunny. But this is going to be a totally different animal. We're spawning cross positions on Frost. So Frost is our biggest map in the pool, along with Whirlwind. But it's just insane how long it takes you to get to your opponent's base. And neither one of our players are Protoss, so they will not be able to circumvent that mechanic entirely.
Yeah. I'm sure there are a couple of happy souls out there. It's like, yes, no Protoss in this game.
Oh, we get our PvPs towards the end of tonight, so you guys got to stick around if you're Protoss fans. We'll get some games for you later on. But here for tonight, sort of the iconic match of StarCraft, the TVZ, and it's been looking good for Bunny. This is where we get a chance to see, once again, another different style. Going for that early scouting Reaper just to get out there and scout, but I don't think that... Oh, yeah, scouting, Reaper scouting, imagine that. But I think this should actually be a great opportunity for Bunny to not try to get that big Stim Marine push, not try to go for any Hellbat shenaniganry, but to play a long macro style, because it looks like that's what Bunny is most comfortable with.
And it's really going to put him to the test, because in game number 1 on Abyssal Reef, soO, he went for a very aggressive build that did not pay off. So this time, I would expect soO to go even greedier than he did in game number 2, which is kind of hard to do. Either way, he's going to play very greedy, and I'm not sure that Bunny can really punish it. So we should see these two guys going to the super late game, and Bunny, he has a lot on his plate to deal with.
Where's that 4 hatch before lair? That's what I'm looking for. Alternatively, this is another match where going things like proxy hatches oftentimes works as well, because you just don't expect it, and it's often there's a couple of great places to hide them. I've seen that happen a couple of times, but for right now, it's just going to be Scouting Reaper and Macro behind it. And probably going to be going into that same Hellions to control the map, but I would doubt if we're going to see another one of those Hellbat pushes from Bunny.
We see the same exact opening as, game 1 and game 2. And I wonder if he will commit to something very harass-heavy, such as the Cloak Banshees. If he doesn't have a lot of confidence in his late-game play against soO, then perhaps this is a way to get ahead early. So he'll be a bit more comfortable.
That's how you can tell it's not Beyond. He runs in there and actually should have lost that Reaper, but good unit. Does get away from the Zerglings, runs out the other side of the base. And yeah, it's going to build up a few more Hellions. Okay, well, maybe this is going to be more Hellbats coming out.
This time it's a medevac.
Maybe he just needs more Hellions because it's a bigger map to control it. Speed finishes here for the Zerglings, but they will turn around just in the nick of time and see the Hellions coming their way.
Cloak this time, so he will start with the medevac, and I doubt this will be fake, unless he's expecting the Overlord to move in right now.
Yeah, that's the Overlord timing right now, and you can see here it comes from soO. I don't think it's actually going to be real.
He's making a Banshee, though.
Wow, okay, so he didn't see the Overlord coming in at the normal timing, soO kind of delaying that. Now he's going to come in, and I think soO will accurately scout this out, but he might be skeptical after it being fake in game 2.
There's a Marine in the way, and he's going to push this Overlord away. Whoa. soO has no idea what's coming, and with the armory on the way, too, this could be some pretty sick Terran kind of all-in-ish stuff here, because there's going to be a lot of Hellbats, there's going to be Cloak Banshees, and at least soO, he's making a wall, he's getting those spores up, he is preparing for such a build.
Yeah, but it has Zerglings in position also here to deny this drop, so that is exactly what you want to see. Okay, well, that's not how physics work. This is like the Terran version of an Archon drop, because apparently the flames from the Hellions not only fire uphill, but through literal rock.
They're pretty powerful. You know, we're ahead in time here in StarCraft.
Indeed we are. Ahead of our time. That's when you upgrade Blue Flame and it actually melts the cliffs down into ramps.
It makes, yeah, that would be sick.
Somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin Browder's like thinking, wait, what if they turn it into destructible rocks instead? No, that's not how it works. It's
actually a hilarious thought. You like destroy the ramp and make it into destructible rocks. Anyway, he's going in for the push. Lots of Hellbat, and there are the Cloak Banshees coming in. Lots of Queens to deal with the Hellbats in the front, at least. Nothing for the Banshee just yet.
Need to see some good transfuses there. Whoa, carelessly loses a Queen behind, trying to get aggressive. The Cloak Banshee should be pushed out and might get 1 or 2 drone kills.
Oh,
but,
no.
Does get taken out. Bad control there from Bunny.
Ooh. And this is not the build I wanted to see. Okay, let's see if he can get some damage done with these Hellions. He does sneak them into the main through the drop.
Great splitting by soO, though. Only loses a couple more drones. 4 in total as that lair does finish. We'll see what he does with it, but order of the day is just going to be pushing this drop out. Oh, man, getting those Queens within range. He's going to lose the dropship and everything inside. Well, there's nothing inside, but everything that's on the ground there, too.
Yeah, looks like he was microing these Hellions over here, and so far 13 drones in total. So he's finally finding that damage. He's really cutting down the economy of soO here, down to 43 workers on still only 3 hatcheries.
I don't think soO is too worried about the number of drones he's lost right here. He's mostly just worried about not letting it snowball, because he's been hitting really good injects. The problem is that he'll be having to remake drones instead of building this big Hydra swell that should be coming out here in the near future. So I don't know, Brendan. What do you think? Was that too much damage?
I think it was a little bit too much. I mean, we're seeing Bunny now really comfortably on 3 bases. soO doesn't have a standing army to counterattack at all, especially on this map. And now we're getting Thors into the mix. It's just kind of a unit that Bunny can add in just in case Mutas do come along. He's going double Thor, though, so perhaps this is a unit composition that he's been working on recently.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be, I don't want to call it the Gumiho style, because I don't know how heavily he's going to go into it, but now here come double Banshees. Able to one-shot those drones, take out a few more. Wow, even 3. So, yeah, this does look actually a lot like that style that you'd see out of Gumiho. The big mech, it's not going to be, no siege tanks in it, so it's not going to be that slower. It's going to be that battle mech, as Artosis likes to call it. So, yeah.
I love that name.
That's like the red mage of StarCraft strategies.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. You make a lot of powerful units that all kind of use the same upgrades, and you just go kill them.
Yeah, and we should actually see something very similar to that. You get up to, I think it's supposed to be 66 workers, but he's at 62. And then you just build nothing but Hydralisks. Now, this is going to be most likely the Hydra-only version of this. I don't think, oh, no, Hydra Bane. There we go. All right. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, so 60 some odd drones and Hydra Bane behind it. This is a style that guys like soO and I think Dark recently have been using to great effect versus their Terran opponents, but not quite against this style.
I think there are enough Hellbats on the ground right now to deal with everything that soO has, let alone the Banshees, the Medivacs healing, the 2 Thors in the back. soO, I think he just took a little bit too much damage. His economy was really gutted, and this is the follow-up push from Bunny.
Baneling's coming in here. If you get good Baneling connections, even Hellbat's popping. Wow, look at that. Several being shredded off as Bunny's forced to retreat. Here come the tanks, right as I said they weren't going to be added in there. So,
well, that wasn't the push that Bunny was looking for. He's been a little. It looks like he lacks confidence when he goes for these pushes. Like his micro in the pushes is he just like throws his stuff up the ramp and he's like, I hope this works.
Well, it's kind of also what he did in the second game with his first little chunk of Marines.
Exactly.
Like, let me just put this in there. I'll come back later with more. It's like,
let me just throw 4 Widow Mines into your Banelings. Oh no!
I wonder how that works. Well, this is going to be an interesting Hellbat drop coming in. I think it was scouted out before it even got in here, so soO should be more than well prepared enough to take this out. Yeah, and indeed, whoa, actually not prepared at all. Blue Flame added in there, taking out a Queen and probably several Zerglings along with it, but Hydra's more than ready to take that out, so no drone losses even reported.
Yeah. And you can see that Bunny adding a ton of tanks in now. I think he should have waited for the tanks before going for that big push. I think he didn't expect soO to have so many Hydras in the last push, and I think once this follow-up push comes in, we're seeing soO just stay on mainly Baneling Hydra, and when you're dealing with a giant tank backline of like 8 tanks, there's really not much you can do unless you get the perfect engage.
Where's my Hyperflight rotors at, Brendan? That's what I want.
I mean, we are in the Jin Air themed studio. We can probably find some in the back.
Every Jin Air airplane. In fact, if this were Premiere, we would have literal Hyperflight rotors right behind us. So unfortunately, that is not the case. But to talk about what's actually happening right here, we've got Swarm Hosts on the way. And I'm not sure if Bunny knows exactly how to counter those. Swarm Hosts are great against mech because they're free units. You could trade that into slow to produce mech army. But the way that guys like Gumiho does this is he does Thor drops to counter that. So what you do is you run the Thor out there. Because Swarm Hosts can't really fight for themselves, they have to run away from the Thor. Or they drop their payload and then the Thor picks up and runs away. So great way to deal with that. We'll see if Bunny uses that same style to avoid what is a ton of Swarm Hosts on the way.
He will definitely have to get the information first. We'll see where soO wants to put those Swarm Hosts. Is he going to move them out, try to delay the push that's coming? This is a 200-200 maxed out mech army. We have 14 tanks. 14. Just 2 Thors in the front to supplement the army. That's not really the bulk of it. And then 20 Hellbats to tank in the front for the tanks, funnily enough. And then we got a nice, decent Air Force, 7 Vikings and 3 Banshees.
Yes, Scan sees all these Swarm Hosts, and soO is really doubling down on these Swarm Hosts, too. He built one round and then a second one to follow. Now, this is a lot of damage. It's actually going to take out that Thor. Scarab's actually doing a lot of damage to the Locust, not Scarab. There's no Dragoon or Reavers, rather, in this fight. But yeah, everything evaporates, and now all the Swarm Hosts totally useless until they can pop some more.
Good positioning on the tanks there from Bunny. He had a front line and then a back line. So all the locusts that dropped down, they immediately got obliterated. He lost a bunch of his Hellbats, but he doesn't really care. He can just replace those really easily. So Bunny with the massive push, I think he's in a great spot to take this game.
Deep that tank line is. That's some like Carl Jung tank line right there. Just
14 tanks, man.
Immaculately deep. Well, here comes, how many, what? Da, 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 da. This is like Ride of the Valkyries, the Ride of the literal swarm.
Yeah.
Taking out, okay, all right. Well, that's what happens when you don't have Hellbats there to stop your tanks from just getting killed by free units. So, wow, a great defense actually sort of fought out of nothing.
Yeah, the Hellbats were off duty. They were doing a side quest, kill all of the drones at the 4th base, and actually I think they ended up killing the 4th base instead of killing all the drones. So they get a lot of value for sure, but yeah, perhaps not the quest they were looking for.
That does mean that there's no more resources coming in for soO. So even though his units are free, they're not free enough, and Bunny takes him out. They're the second most likely outcome of today's games. Congratulations, taking out the GSL finalists. soO struggling now 1-2 in SSL.
Yeah, Bunny looking really strong. This guy is 3-0 in SSL. That's ridiculous. I mean, he had so much trouble in even the first round of Season 1 of SSL Challenge. So this guy really on a roll. You can tell he's practicing. He's taking out nerd after nerd. And I think he's coming out on that side. So you might want to be on the lookout. We've been given directions to be more aggressive towards getting
we're
these
actually
players.
Gonna go grab these guys. I don't know if he's. I can't see inside the booth. We're having to like time this.
They might do the thing where they wait for the commercial break and then they like sneak out.
That's the real strat.
That's the real strat, yeah.
But if he comes out, I'm gonna run over and grab that nerd, bring him over here, and we'll get a chance to talk to him for a few minutes.
Yeah.
This is what SSL has amounted to at this point.
The tension is rising.
We're gonna have players like
is
window
Bunny
game
gonna come out of the booth?
Instantly run
He's not
away.
coming out of the booth.
I think he's picking up. I think he's coming out. We're watching, guys. Don't worry.
We're like not even casting. We're just like, oh, is he coming out? Oh, it looks like
I
we're
think
going
we have
to
go
a break.
to break, guys. Sorry, no interview with Bunny. But thank you very much for watching. We'll be right back with our next series.